Before we get started with today's video, I have an announcement to make. After years of telling other people's stories, I finally released one of my own. My novel Eternal Reign is available now in both ebook and paperback format for those of you who are like me and prefer to collect physical media. You can grab a copy right now on Amazon through the link in the description of this video. And now back to our regularly scheduled program. While passing through Gridania, the Warrior of Light comes across a man who has been getting a lot of complaints about a really annoying Moogle that's been annoying a lot of the citizens. The Moogle's trying to get people to do some type of painting, and even though nobody's been interested, he still won't stop bothering people. The guy thinks that you should probably avoid the Moogle too, but the Warrior of Light seems to enjoy dealing with the annoying creatures, so she goes to find him instead. She sees the Moogle while he's in the middle of talking to some adventurers, and it turns out the painting he's talking about is not the regular boring kind. He's talking about the magical art of pictomancy, which the Warrior of Light actually is interested in learning about. It's honestly a little weird that so many adventurers turned it down. Annoying though they may be, I can't think of too many people who wouldn't accept an aggravating teacher if it meant you learn how to beat people up with stick figures. The Moogle's name is Kupopo, and he inherited the soul crystal of a Pictomancer, and he's been looking for someone to pass the skill on to. It was created 1500 years ago at the end of the 5th Astral Era, but it's different from the black magic and white magic that sprung up during that period. This magic uses the caster's imagination as fuel, and by pouring a bit of ether into it, Pictomancers can bring what they imagine to life. It's not the easiest thing to learn though, which is why the Archon realm who made it used physical art supplies to help focus the power. Instead of using a staff, she used a paintbrush and some ether-infused ink to make the things she drew come to life. So if your art sucks, you'll make some pretty crappy looking creations. Realm was one of those self-sacrificing people like the Warrior of Light, so she made the main rule that all Pictomancers had to follow be that they would always use their talent to save people. During the War of the Magi, she saved so many people that she earned her place among the 12 Archons. Since the Warrior of Light does that type of thing on a daily basis, she is a perfect candidate for carrying on Realm's legacy. On one condition. A while back, the Moogle had a fight with his best friend, and he hasn't seen her since. He's been trying to find her, so while the two of you are traveling around doing Pictomancer things, he wants you to help him find his friend. That's a simple enough task, so once you've switched clothes, the two of you head off to start saving people and hunting things after the Moogle goes to apologize to the hero for making his job more annoying. It was already going badly enough anyway, since there seems to be some monsters making noise in an empty manor house, and it's been irritating the people who live in the area. Kupopo sees that as a perfect opportunity to volunteer you to do some work, so he tells the guy that you'll clear the place out. It's a good opportunity to test out your new abilities anyway, and part of your job is to help people, so after learning the basics of this unique fighting style, the Warrior of Light gets to work removing the creatures from the mansion. The hero is glad to hear that you didn't get yourself killed trying to help him, but he's even happier that he might get a break from people bothering him for a little while. It was a very successful first mission, so Kupopo heads off to find your next one while he searches for his friend. There was a time when the Moogle had traveled with 2 Pictomancers. The soul crystal that he gave to you was from one of them, an older man named Jantalok. The other one is the friend that the Moogle is looking for, a Lalafell named Baruru. She was Jantalok's apprentice, and when he died, she took it pretty hard, which is why Kupopo's been trying to find her and rekindle their friendship. The bad news is he hasn't found a single lead that could tell him where she might have gone. The only plan he has is retracing the steps that the 3 of them took when they had traveled together. While the 2 of you do that, you can help anyone that you come across. And the first stop on that journey is Coerthas, so the 2 of you get ready to head out. The Moogle hadn't liked the cold the last time he'd visited Camp Dragonhead, and not much has changed since. But Ruru had loved the place since it was her first time seeing snow, which means it might be a good place to look for her. But before either of you can do that, the same guy from Gridania who had asked you to deal with the monsters pops up, and he's once again in trouble. He was sent as an emissary for Gridania, but the Ishgardian who he was supposed to meet got hurt in a training exercise. The injuries weren't all that bad, but they got infected, and magic isn't healing him. The treatment he needs will take the horn of a not-so-weak animal, and since the emissary isn't exactly combat savvy, he can't go and get what he needs. That makes it a perfect job for you, so you do a bit of asking around, and once you find the thing's location, you put it down and take its horn back to the emissary, who rushes off to help his comrade. While he does that, Kupopo starts asking around to see if anyone's seen Baruru. He doesn't find any leads, but the Gridanian emissary and the knight who he healed hunt the 2 of you down to express their gratitude. After he had gotten back on his feet, the knight had done a bit of asking around about Kupopo's friend. No one can remember seeing a young painter, and since they watch their borders very well, if they haven't seen her, then she hasn't come there. Since she's not there, it's time to move on to the next stop on the journey, a much warmer and all around more pleasant place, Kugane. To make the trip to the area easier and a bit quicker, the Warrior of Light puts the Moogle in a sack and teleports to the far east. Unlike Coerthas, the Moogle had liked Kugane when he had visited it with his friends, but that's probably because they never ran into any Namazu. The Moogle thinks that the tea houses would be a good place to start asking around about his friend, but because you're a magnet for people with problems, you hear a trader swearing very loudly nearby. Usually when people use foul language in public, they're not having the best of days. So the Warrior of Light and the Moogle go to see if they can make this guy's day a little bit better. The guy's an art dealer from Ul'dah, and he came to Kugane to sell a rare piece of art that he collected from back home. But a storm hit the ship that he was on, and the pack with his art in it fell overboard. There's a good chance that the box floated into the Ruby Sea, which is the spot run by the Confederacy, so no one's been willing to go searching for the man's lost package. The Warrior of Light's on pretty good terms with those pirates though, so she has no problem going to talk to them. They did in fact find the thing, but they won't give it to you for free because why would they? Instead, they get you to help them hunt down a few ogre crabs, and once you're done, they're more than willing to hand over the crate. For a regular looking wooden box, the thing must have been sealed by magic because the painting that's inside is still in perfect condition, and it turns out to be one of Jeantaloc's paintings. The trader bought it not that long ago from Jeantaloc's apprentice, so he knows where she is. That part is good since you're hunting for the woman. The bad part is, as far as the trader knows, Baruru is dead now. She had come to Ul'dah with a bunch of Jeantaloc's paintings. Once she sold them all, she disappeared. Everything she had was left in her room, and word started to spread that she'd gone off somewhere and self-deleted. Kupopo doesn't take the news all that well. He had known Baruru had taken her master's death pretty hard, but he hadn't expected her to decide to end it all because of it, and she may not have. It is only a rumor, one that the two of you head off to Ul'dah to hopefully prove that it is in fact just that. And that's where we're going to stop for today. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it, comment, share it, and subscribe. Grab a copy of my novel on your way out, and I'll see you all next time.